Morning, everybody. It's 8:30 a.m. It is February 12th. Welcome to my channel. Yesterday, pretty much called that sell-off as one of my short scenarios. Okay, I just missed that short. I was so close to taking that, so close, but it was literally I had a second to literally get into my trade, and then I had to watch it go to where the previous day's lows and past that, right? And then I was telling my channel when I was live, hey, watch the 69.45 levels, the most traded price of the year. You really need to see what price does there. And what do you know? We couldn't go any lower. And then we just, pushed back up and basically traded like a barcode. Okay. I did get my long eventually. It's just that when I got into my long, I got immediate excursion and it looked like it was going to push up to my target. And then I was like, you know what? I don't like where we are because like where we were battling was right at the VPOC of the day, around 69.64. And I was like, all right, I don't really trust this. All right, it could come back on me, even though I thought my stop was secure. So again, I make peace with this. I said, let me just go to break even. And it did a little dance. It looked like it was going to break out again. And then it came back and hit my break even. And then two things happened. There was some Iran or Iran news about a aircraft carrier going there, which caused this quick liquidation break. And I was like, it's probably going to go higher from here. And then you had another one. If anybody was watching the markets at around that time, I think it was like after 1 o'clock or so. There was two quick moves in 1 minute candles that swept liquidity again. And I was saying, I was live, I was like, it's probably going to go higher now. And then I saw internal start to kick up, and I was like, I know I could probably enter long here, and it was going to go up, and it did. But I don't want to get in that habit. Okay. So then after that, I was waiting for it to clear one of these levels I had, and if it did that, I was getting ready to short it. Well, it never really reached that liquid level, and then it proceeded to sell back down, which I expected that to happen. So I ended up having, and to give you what I mean about the long, that long that I was in never hit my stop. It would have hit my target. So I should have had it if I let it go, right? And this is where discretion comes in, and you have to be at peace with whatever I did, right? I knew I was in a really bad area, like a battle zone area, and it could go either way. And then those news breaks came with negative news at first. And then what happened was they said, no, that's wrong. Trump is not sending an aircraft carrier into the Middle East. The market then seemed to be like, okay, cool. And I was like, all right. And then also later on, when I was thinking about a short, Apple said there's something about Siri that they're like having a delay or something, which shot Apple down, shot the market down. And then the market then got bought back up a little bit, and then it rolled over. Okay. Now, one key thing here. Let me just pull this up. I can show you this right here. Okay. One key thing that you have to note. Whenever you have a VWAP that's flat, see that flat VWAP? That means we're going to have a very range-bound market. Now, we did pull down, right? VWAP with that violent sell-off. Notice how it flattened out, and that's why this range trade had happened. And see how this swing high, if I put my cursor there, you notice how that didn't get tagged. That's what I was waiting. I was waiting for this to go whoop, and then I can get my short in, because that's part of my rules. I want to see liquidity taken care of first to give me the upper hand. It's just that it didn't hit it. Also, we had these equal lows down here that didn't get tagged, which I also was waiting for my long. But we did sweep the previous. That's what get me in, and we were by where the previous day's lows, right? And then it did this thing. Whoop, 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 whoop. Went up right there. Okay, would have hit my target. My target was set here. So Needless to say, came away with the day with being flat. My trade was right. I just went to break even. That's just trading, and you have to make sure you're at peace with when you go to break even. Now, there's plenty of times where I go to break even where I would have saved money, and there's times where I go to break even and my trade would have worked. So, whenever I'm feeling like I have hope, I'm hoping my trade works. I generally like to go to break even. If I'm feeling like hope, if I really am convicted, I'll probably keep my stop. So, just wanted to share that with you. Now, this market is doing a whole lot of nothing. I was explaining to my channel yesterday when I was live, right, how all these things ground me here. Let's look at the daily chart. When we came down here in SPY, right, that black line is last week's close, and we were breaking it, right? It was almost like a bearish engulfing candle at this point, which would technically be very bearish, right? But it came right here, and I said, look where this market's doing. We're right here. I said, guess what's happened? Nothing. Nothing. QQQ, look, came down to Friday's close, came down to last month's, I believe that's last month's lows. That was the liquid level for the QQQ, last month's lows, right? And then it tried to break the last Friday's close, which is last week's close, and then whoop, right? Nothing to see here. We're balancing. This is what I talked about yesterday. We are balancing. So, which makes the market intraday very hard. Let me say this, not hard for me, and that's not being cocky, just meaning that I'm being very patient. But it could be hard, very hard, because the market's mixed. It's got a lot of cross signals. We had unemployment come out. That unemployment went down, and we added more jobs, which is not a good thing if you want the Fed to cut rates. Okay? So I said, all right, this could be a sell off the open, which happened. And what are we going to go? We're going to seek out liquidity, right? So that's what happened. Now, again, I love the quote from Brian Shannon. Whenever you have a good feeling of what the market should do, it does it in the least obvious way. And that's what the market does every day. You feel like it's going to go somewhere, and it's like, wait a minute, why is it moving up? And then all of a sudden it goes to the destination anyway. That's what the market does. I tell you all the time, price action. If you're a man, it's just a juxtaposition. If you're starving on an island, it's a cheeseburger, you know what I mean, that you want to eat, and it's like dangling by a string. You know what I mean? That's why you have to look at internals. You have to look at the bigger picture. You have to look at structure. Look at the bigger picture. Don't focus on your trigger chart. If you focus on those little moves in the trigger chart, you're going to be having a mirage, like you're in a desert and you see there's water. That's what it feels like, because you think there's opportunities every minute, and there's not. If you're scalping ticks or points, of course that doesn't matter to you. But if you're trying to get some kind of decent trade intraday, don't focus on your trigger chart. Don't think every little break is an opportunity, because it's not. Right? Wait. Be the surfer, catch the big wave. Be the sniper, catch the one headshot. I waited all the way to one something to take my long. Even though in my room I was saying, oh, this is probably a little short scalp here, and I was pretty much calling the market every move yesterday. Okay? And I'm just getting used to calling the moves. Right? It's starting to just be like, that's what I do, but that's not my trade per se. It's not the way I want to trade. I don't want to trade every tick that I see. I want to see the low-hanging fruit. And that low-hanging fruit was the long. Right? But we had a small range, which is when you go back and forth through this range, it's going to be problematic. And what happened to this range, I'll show you right here. Right? Just give you a little inside scoop here. Give me a second. And that's what I'm saying. This is only from experience. This isn't me saying that everybody's going to know how to do what I'm doing. Okay? Not everybody's going to know and be calm to look at what I'm saying. I understand it. I've been there. I understand when you're seeing price action and you have a long in your head or a short in your head, and you're like, you see the market move down when you're short and you're not in it. Don't get me wrong. I know FOMO with the best of them. But check that out. All right here, that price that I'm talking about, that was the V pocket yesterday. Guess what that is now? Ultimate balance. Ultimate balance now. 69. Let's call it 69.65. That is your most traded price of the month and the week. Ultimate balance. And to give you more extra color, 69.90, the most current traded price of this year. 69.45 is the most traded price of the rolling year. Now, all of them are stacked together. Do you see what I'm saying? In the last year, the 69.45 is the most traded price. And you have ultimate balance. And you have the most traded price of this year. Look at them all stacked together. That's going to give the market indecision. That's so much indecision. You can't get any more indecision than that, or indecisive. Okay? So that's going to make the market just, it's going to move, and we're going to move big eventually. I don't know when that is. Nobody does know. Okay? Guess. 9. All right. So I just wanted to give you guys that because you need to go into the market with this in mind. Okay? So you got to get the big picture every day. Okay? Every day. You have to get the big picture. Just what I showed you. Now again, this is for my style. Okay? More than not, you're trying to trade more like myself. You're trying to get a decent 2-to-1 risk to reward. Right? You're trying to get a decent trade. And this is the way you need to look at the market. Label the macro, right? We'll label the macro. Then we'll label maybe on a 4-hour or 1 hour, and then we have to go intraday. And all of those have to then combine to a probability. Okay? Always you need to do that. If you're not doing it, you're doing yourself a disservice. That means you have no process, no edge. You're just trading price action. Okay? And I've done it. I've done the wrong things. I've been the guy that gets up in your underwear and you just trade the open. Doesn't make sense. Okay? It's going to make you inconsistent. You're going to think green means good and red trade means bad trade instead of having a process. Okay? I'm getting a little preachy now, but I'm saying I'm at a certain point now where, that made sense when my mentor in the beginning was like that. That made sense why my mentor was super patient. That made sense when my mentor said he has rules where he doesn't go long today when I didn't understand it. What do you mean not go long? I just went long and made money, right? That's the way you think when you're young in trading. Right? Trading, when you get established, is not about the money. Trust me, I got into it because of the quick money. I was trading and making $1,000 to $2,000 to $3,000 a day when I started trading, without a process, without anything, and I thought, I'm gonna be on a yacht. So I'm coming from experience that I had the delusions that this is the easiest thing ever, okay? And then I got humbled. I didn't really blow up accounts or anything like that, but I just got humbled to go, I don't know what I'm doing. Because I started to research and go, wow, I don't even know what I'm doing. Right? Forget about the money. Okay? I'm going to end it with this. I was a very successful options trader, multiple years. I replaced my income from my job. Those strategies went away. I had to reinvent myself. Okay? I was never really a great futures trader when I was options trading because I was successful in options. I never had a process in futures until about 2.5, 3 years ago. Probably 2.5 years ago. So I know what I'm talking about because I started out risking $500, $1,000, which was like an idiot. Personal account. This is when funded things didn't even exist, okay? So that's what I'm trying to explain, okay? If you really want to last in this game, because I went down to risking like $25 to work on my process where the money didn't matter anymore. It just didn't matter. Process, 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 process. Because that's going to make you be there in the long run, right? It's going to make you be there in the long run, especially with your risk management, right? Like I'm up for the month now. Last week was my first red week in like, I don't know, 11 weeks, 12 weeks, something like that. And it was like barely 1 hour. It was not, it was a half an hour. It was a half of my risk. It was barely anything. But now it took me one trade and I'm already up on the month because of my risk management, right? So I didn't intend to be this long, but I'm just trying to push a little bit of wisdom because it's the long game. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. And trust me, I fought that for a bit, for years to try to sprint. Okay? No one thinking that I've known what I was doing. Okay? I know now with confidence I have a skill of reading this market. I have a skill. It's been built. It's been verified. You come into my room, you're going to see automatically, whoa, this dude knows exactly what he's talking about, knows exactly what the market's going to do. Not knowing exactly, meaning this, I'm not a fake where I'm predicting every move. But when you watch me, I'll say, probably going to get stopped here, probably going to have a wick here, probably going to bottom here. Hey, let's watch this, and then let the market tell us what we do. Because can't predict it, right? So anyway, that was a long soliloquy. I apologize. I just try to give some wisdom. I'm passionate about this game. All right. Trading's starting to become more boring to me, which just means that I'm getting better. Because I'm sitting back and just watching when my trade is not there. Because I know it only takes one trade for me to be like, oh, there's another 2 to 3, 4 to 1 winner. Because I waited for it. And I don't need to trade every tick. See what I mean? All right. Let's get into it, folks. I'm going to make this briefer because I went into that long tirade. All right. Welcome to my channel. My name is Steve Gonzalez. I use the market profile and volume profile to find structure in the markets, along with supply and demand, gamma exposure levels, the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and previous day. That is my edge. Use market internals, my bread and butter. My bread and butter. Anchor VWAPs, ICT, okay, and the weekly expected move indicator that I give you for free on my Discord. Hopefully you join me every morning. I give you the market story, the market news, the economic calendar, the leaders and the laggards. Just the real deal what's going on in the markets, folks. All right, technical analysis, and I give you the long and short trade scenarios in the NASDAQ and the ES futures. Now, if you want more in-depth coverage like I've been talking about, you're going to join my Discord. That's Confluence Trading. Go to my YouTube homepage, click on the link, and sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator. Trust me, let me be your indicator. When I get passionate, when I see something that must happen, I say it in the channel. And I have members that will be like, yo, dude, I just got short from your call. I just got short. I just got long. Great. Great. If you could do that, and I might even beat it. And then someone's like, hey, I'm in. I just made some money. Right? Use me. Okay? I'm not going to steer you wrong. I'm not going to give you fluff like, see, we're crashing. I told you guys we're crashing. No. I'm not going to give you that information. All right? Watch list. Let's do it. All right. So Ethereum's getting a pop today, up 1.69%. Russell's up 0.78. Bitcoin's up today, 0.60. Nasdaq's up 0.40. ES down up 0.36. The Dow is up 0.33. The 30-year bonds are being bought. Should send yields lower. Gold's flat. Dollar's flat. 10-year yield is down. Crude is down 0.62. Silver is down 1.35%. And the VIX is down 2.15. Mag 7. Nvidia is up 1.20%. AMD up 1%. Meta's up 0.68. A lot of these are up. The only down one is Apple. The only one that is down is Apple, down 0.5%. Remember, they had that Siri news yesterday where some kind of delay with Siri. All right, McDonald's reported earnings. They're up 1.40%. Oracle is up 1%. Salesforce is up 0.84. Goldman Sachs up 0.70. GEV, my baby, up to 830. My lord, my baby. All right, down. Who's down? The miners down 0.65, and Exxon down almost 1%. Sectors. We're looking at real estate. That's never a good thing. Real estate's leading. It's probably not a good thing. Up 1.21. You don't really see that. Real estate up that much, up 1.21%. Interesting. 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 10-year yield is down. Interesting that real estate is up that much. Semis is also up. Technology is up. There is nothing down but energy, folks. So right now, and we'll get into the charts. This market don't look great where we're at right now. It just doesn't. All right? Doesn't make me excited. All right? Yesterday, I had those scenarios. All right? Now, moving on. Let's get right into the morning prep here. Right into the morning prep. All right. I think this is not even right. I don't even think this is right. Nope. So PPI is not today. This is my little bot. He's going to get in trouble. All right. So today was jobless claims. And we have existing home sales at 10 a.m. So this is garbage. Sorry about that. Let's get into the breadth here. The New York Stock Exchange is still 65% on a buy signal for the S&P 500. 60%. The 54% of the NASDAQ. Interesting. And the breadth, let's see if this is even correct. Those numbers are not correct. I apologize. Coinbase reports earnings today. All right. Coinbase reports earnings today. All right. So does Arista. So does Rivian, DraftKings, Applied Materials. So yesterday, Apple 11 had a beat. Cisco had a beat. And let's see. Robinhood reported the other day. Okay. But are they up today? They're up a little bit today. I'm still batting around if I want to get into that or not. Today's a quiet day with Trump and yeah, there's not much on the schedule for today. Let's see. Yep, Trump's not even on here. We got some. That's not even that. The Fed speak later. It's very light in data. All right, so here's the Cisco. Cisco, I just mentioned that. Stock dropped 7.1 after the network equipment provider posted quarterly gross margin below estimates. McDonald's stock gained. We could just call it about Apple and Applied Materials. I just covered that, so we don't need to get into that. Any other news? McDonald's. Nope. Let's see. Let's see the Apple. Let's see if there's Apple here, because that little Siri thing. I saw Meta's building this thing out in India. Let's see what else here. All right. I think we're going to move on to internals. Move on to internals. All right. We'll move on. What did I say? Internals. Let's do internals. They're always my bread and butter. Let's do the market recap here. Okay. So you could see top 4 sectors were red. top four sectors were weak. Internals were weak, right? But when they did that, right, I'm just telling my community, be careful in future, 69.45, 69.45, and then look, they recovered, right? And notice we just went like this, barcode. So that was just a scalper's paradise. All right, you could just trade at that range. I mean, not even have to be a scalper. Like I was looking to go short, to go long, to go short. But there was some wild. That's that wild price action with the Apple news. Okay, so needless to say, why was I a little more short? There wasn't much movement to the downside because the overall market was not that weak. Notice equal weight was stronger than the market cap weight. It was never negative. It was really never that weak. So I just knew the overall market, as long as we had technical bottoms in the major stocks that were down in tech, that's all that mattered. Okay. All right. Moving on, we're going to do some dailies. Give me 1 second. All right, let's get into that daily chart. All right, let's look at this together, folks. All right, we're in the middle of a mess, folks. All you got to do is look to the left. All this trading, that's what I'm saying. We're in a highly congested area. What did we do? We pulled back to the year-to-date anchored VWAP yesterday, the 20-day moving average, the 90 MA daily, Friday's close, and bounced up. And then what did it say, the market? What did I say yesterday when I was live? I said this is the pricing in of that jobs data. That's not great for cuts. We priced it in. Now we move on because now we have that information. That's pretty much what the markets do. Where are we now? 694.88, 694.88. That brings us right here in the almost the mid of yesterday, where that's just garbage price location, garbage. Okay, it's not exciting at all. Right? Look at futures. Look at this mess. We're just in balance. Okay, we're just in balance. See how we swept that low? Now the expected, I would say we probably come up to here. That would be the expected play for today. All right, Qs. Here's the Qs. Remember, relatively weaker, right? Hit last month's what? Lows. Friday's close. And close right at the 100-day moving average. Still below the year-to-date anchored VWAP, the 50-day moving average, 20 days. So just middling. 616 is where we're at. 616. So here you're actually at the close to the highs of the session. Let's move over to the futures. Look at that balance. So I would expect to hit that high today. 25465. That would be my expectation, to hit that high. Okay. Below the year-to-date anchor VWAP. Okay. 100-day moving average and futures. Look, you kind of just keep pushing down to last month's lows. Last month's lows has been support. Last month's lows have been support. Okay. That's it. Now, my bot that's been messing up this morning didn't give the correct breadth reading, so I'll do it. This is stocks above their 50-day moving average, and we're at a 67%. This is not even middling. This is because if you look at staples, you look at industrials, they've been moving. Okay, doesn't remember market cap weight moves are stock but this is not weak. This is not overbought. This is not oversold. This is just like a little bit better than middling. Hence why our market's just wacky every day. All right, moving on. We're going to go into hourlies now. Give me one sec, folks. Alrighty, let's go to those hourly charts now. That's really a great place to go. Because, folks, we're in balance. That's all this is balance. Okay? That's all we're doing is we're balancing. All right? Now, when we're in balance, right, we got balance rules. Simple as that. Look at that wick, right? Almost down to the month-to-date anchor view up. So we have like a balance area here, right? Let's look at our daily candle right here. So price is up here. 4 hours, kind of more or less a little bit of a doji. Price action's horrendous. Look at this barcode. Now look, this equal low, I said that has got to get dealt with. And look at that overnight. It swept it. And now we're moving up. Okay? Like I said, ultimate balance is here. 69.65. Most traded price of this year, most traded price of the rolling year. Okay? If we zoom out, just look at the sheer trading volume here. Right? That's why. Okay? That is why. Now, let's look at this together. Right? Very simple today. Very simple. You know this liquid here and that is yesterday's highs and lows. Okay? Right now, that is the overnight high right there. Overnight low is down here. This level is an equal low. Probably, it's not easy to trade this mess. Meaning when the market opens. Okay? Like I said, my expectation would be to go here. Because we just swept these equal lows and now we're moved up. So the next move probably is going to, you have to take out all these shorts. Okay? So, pretty simple. All right? Pretty simple. So we're going to go straight to the point. And we'll just do scenarios here. I don't have to go into the market profile and volume profile much. Okay? Because I know I had my little soliloquy in the beginning about trading. So we'll just get right into scenarios here. It'll be very easy. It'll be very easy scenarios here. And just remember what I said earlier about the story. Okay? Remember, always have the story in mind. This isn't a trend. We're not trending up right now. We're not trending down right now. We're moving sideways. Trade accordingly. Okay? Trade accordingly. So, what do we have here? So, we're in the middle of this balance right here. Right? We know we're above ultimate balance. So, this is a little flag, a little feather in the cap for a bull. Because you swept all that liquidity. Then you close back in the range. That's why I wanted to get long yesterday. And then look, we're moving up. My expectation is here. So if I am doing a bullish scenario here, right? Now, for me, it's not easy to just long here. So what I'm going to look for is if this market can break that equal low, give us a little discount where ultimate balance 69.65. Now that might be the pullback here, and then you ride that back up to prior day's highs. Now, if we get a little bit of a deeper pullback, we could even go to this equal low, hit the most traded price of the year, and then go like this. Whoop, close back in here, give you a little discount, and then you go here. Now, another one could be you go up. Now, this would be a little bit of a trade. Go up, hit that supply, pull back to here, and then you tag previous day's highs. That's all I'm interested in. Shorts. Shorts. Okay. Now, could you do this? Take this out. Take the overnight high out. Then on an hourly, you close back here. Right? And then you take out this, close there, give yourself a little premium here underneath the most traded price of the year. You could, and this is all based on internals. I don't know what's going to drive the market today. This is not the best structure. We could clear that out. Whoop, right there. Right there. And you probably get one of these moves down to the previous day's lows. Okay. Now, even because we're in balance, you could even do this. Hit previous day's highs in a major supply that we have not been able to get out of. Let's say you close here. Give yourself a little premium again. Well, guess what? That means we're in balance. And let's say the market is like in parity. The internals are not strong, not weak. You're going to do one of these. Whoop, back to the other side. Same thing with the long. I didn't put that in there. So for the long, this could be same thing. Let's just say we find ourselves here. Boop. Into this bullish for value gap, right? There's a lot of liquidity here. Let's say if we do this and close like somewhere here. Well, the next expected move would be back to the bounce highs. Okay, pretty easy. Pretty easy. Let's go to the NASDAQ. NASDAQ members relatively weaker. But we are in balance. Now, if I zoom out, I keep talking about this structure in the 25511s, but see this big supply zone? There's a reason I have a thick border on this. Is because it's a heavyweight supply zone. It's a 6, a 12, or an 8-hour supply zone. We've had problems with this. It's not been able to just get out of its own way. Okay? That 25516 level, that's the resistance, and then you have the clear sailing. If the market gets some strength with tech, you could break that, and then you really can take care of this poor structure. But we are not there yet. And it's having a problem. It's having a problem. Okay, so let's go back into today. What's going on now? Let's look at the story. What are we doing? What did we do? Right? Came down here, and now we established a balance area. We're accumulating, right? We're accumulating. So let's get rid of this. This is not important. Okay? So, there's a swing low there I didn't mark off. Let me mark that off. I guess I missed that. Okay. So, how do we look at it? Let's get right into scenarios here. It's pretty easy. It's a pretty easy scenario day. And this is where you just got to be patient. Right? If this market stays in balance, keep in mind, when we go to a liquidity level, all right, like let's say we open up today, hold the most traded price of the week, and then we just fire off right up into yesterday's highs, right? And at this time, let's say the internals, wow, they're not that strong. Just remember, in a balanced area, right? If this is going to be balanced highs, you don't get many pullbacks. So you might just get a whip, close here, and this doesn't give you a lot of times. A lot of times it just goes this, back to the balance lows. Okay, same thing on the balance lows, right? Let's say we come down somehow and we do this, and let's say the market. Now the market probably would be a little weaker here. Okay, Also, when you go to balance, people take profits and then they become buyers and new buyers come in and force it back up. Okay, that's balance. All right. Now, let's get into scenarios here. Okay, very easy today. So we're going to start off with bull. Okay. Like I said, the expected move, because we just swept all that liquidity, right? And then guess what? Let's see what else we did here. This swept all that liquidity. And now the expected move would be previous day's highs. That ray right there. That's the expected move. I'd be surprised. Could happen. Might not happen. Okay? So what am I expecting? A couple things. Okay? We could pull back right to that swing low. Whoop. Then you get your long, you hit the previous day's highs. We could also push up, fall back, and then hit it. All right? That's the two longs probably close to the open that you might be looking at. Okay? Now, what else could happen as far as a long? Now, like I said, if we come down here, and let's say the market's not that weak, and it probably would be though. So I'm cautioning you here. And you did one of these. Whoop. That could also be a long back into balance. All right. I'm not a favorite of that one. I'd have to really be careful. Shorts. So we're looking at shorts. We know we're in supply already. We're in supply right now. We have not been able to break this supply zone. Okay. So our expected move, right? So let's say you're like, I don't know, and let's say I'm like, I don't know, am I gonna really long for this? Let's say I hold off and I wait for the test of yesterday's highs, and there's also a swing high here and another major level here. I have to wait for all of them, not all of them. If we keep going, I have to wait for all of them. But let's say we just do this, hit this, close back inside the range. And now you're seeing, this market's not super strong. We could just literally go boom, boom, boom. Okay? Balance rules. The market's in flux. It doesn't know what it wants. And every day it's kind of mixed. We have green shoots in some sectors and red. It's always kind of mixed. It's like it's schizophrenic. It has multiple personalities. It's you have to wait till liquid gets dealt with. If you don't wait for that, you are probably a sucker. I have been a sucker plenty of times. Or let's say, I'm going to end it with this. We'll just change it to yellow. If you don't wait, and let's say you're like this, I want to short. Oh, I want to short. Let's say, and you're like, oh, I'm loving this. And it doesn't hit, it's like here. And it's doing this. Okay? I'm not shorting until I see this dealt with. I need to see it dealt with, and then what does it do after? Like, the close is there. Oh, back into the range. We get a little premium here, and then you short. Don't pick a top. You can do it sometimes, and I've done it, and it feels amazing, but it's not repeatable because you're just throwing a dart with a blindfold on. It doesn't make sense. Okay? Now, if you enjoyed that analysis, please smash that like button. That would be much appreciated. Okay? Well, as always, join me every morning. Subscribe, set that alert. I give you the market story, the market news, technical analysis. Just gave you the long and short trade scenarios in the Nasdaq and the ES futures. What is the theme today? Balance. What is the macro theme today? The market doesn't know what it wants. We're around major levels. We're in ultimate balance in the S&P 500. Nasdaq is relatively weak. We have that whole software thing, right? I just saw tariffs got knocked off for Canada with Trump, but I don't really see that in the market showing up, okay? That's what we have, and now we're in balance. So plan our attack. I just gave you the scenarios, okay? Now, if you want live commentary and in-depth coverage, you're going to join my Discord, Confluence Trading. Go to my YouTube homepage, click on the link, and sign up. What are you waiting for? Let me be your indicator. If you think this is great, what I'm like, oh, he's talking about the story and blah 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 blah. Well, just go live with me. I go live around 9:50 a.m. I am also giving you gamma flip points, expected move breaches, okay? Market news throughout the day. All right? More to come with the Discord. More to come. All right? Like I said, we're going to have a whole thing set up eventually with market setups, trade setups, hashtags for each trade setup, what they mean, why is gamma important? Okay? All right. Everybody, have a great day. No trade is a trade, folks. Cash is a position. But hopefully everybody has a good day. All right? There's always opportunities every day. Remember that. Wait for it. All right? Hope to see everybody in the room live with me today. If not, see you guys.